Okay, we'll go, Swelly. We'll go. Welcome to the Cafe Nightly Show. I'm your host, the Goldsmith. It is the 12th of December, 2024. It is a Thursday, and we have some news. One of the bigger days of news in Upland, and I will say in a very long time, I will say potentially bigger news than we find out about a city. Potentially maybe not bigger news when we have a major vote, but definitely bigger news than when we have an announcement about a new asset for sale or sometimes even utility for a new asset, because it is utility, it is value, it is potential use case, or at least a contest driven use case for existing assets. And again, when you can bring more into an existing asset, it's always a good thing. When we can bring more into cars, I kind of feel like, the iteration and how big is this asset change, and does this utility within the car asset, is it a benefit? Is it a detriment? Is it too little, too late? But in this case, this is something that's additive to the value of assets that already exist, and it is something that really rewards people who had this mindset from a long time ago. And what that is the collector's rank. The collector's rank is going to give a lot larger value to the people who have decided from a very long time ago they're going to start collecting these because they want to collect these. They decided they want to collect potentially low mints because they saw value in them, and they thought low mints should be worth more than high mints or mid mints, because that is the way they are in a lot of NFT groups. And sometimes that's been the case in Upland, and sometimes we haven't seen this really strong markets or strong demand for those low numbers. And now we have an enhanced reason to have the low mint numbers. We have an enhanced reason to have early mint, things that have been minted early in the game, and things that are of a low circulation overall. So we'll get into that and to get the details on that. But that is a big piece of news. I will tell you why it excites me, but I'll also tell you why I'm excited about the new quality of life update. I do have some thoughts about it. It is this iterative one little feature instead of 15 features at once. It is this one feature that happened, at a long time after people were asking for it. But now that it's here, it does have a significant amount of value, and I think it will have an impact on the value of different properties in different neighborhoods, because it allows people to more specifically zone in on pricing, and that is being able to separate fiat from UPIC sales. And there are continued issues with filtering. We'll get into a couple of those, but this is big news as well. Finally, Holliday Plaza, or Holiday in the Plaza 2024 for the Wonderland season. We do have that decoration. We do have that set. We can take a look at that. The team has announced it and shown that. So this is a big deal as well. Again, this is the second season they've had it. How often are people using the plaza? People do go in there occasionally. It is not something that's used on a daily basis, but this is a great contest because it does allow the seasonal change of the look of a cafe, or in this case, a plaza. It does allow for to be a seasonal tie. We can see if you have a recording, you can see that it was this season versus that season. But it's also another contest for the UGC group, for people who are putting work into beautifying and making art in the game of Upland. And I really enjoy when you see these contests. And we see that some of these names are people who have been in other contests. It doesn't mean that it's a limit to a small amount of people, but it means that these people continue to put time and effort in to contest after contest after contest. And that's why you see some of these names over and over again. Yes, they have skills and they've earned things in the past, but it also means that they're continuing to participate in these contests. I love to see new names. It means new people are coming into that group, or there's people who have the opportunity to win, even though there's other people who have a ton of experience. But I really like the idea. That we do have some of the same people being competitive and participating in these contests as well. So we'll get into that as well. Trees, great to see you. Let's get the disclaimer out of the way. All views and opinions expressed by myself, they're mine and mine alone. Shouldn't be taken as game strategy or financial advice. They represent the game of the team of Upland. The guests who we do have on, the guests and contributors, they have their own opinions. You're welcome to them. Should be taken as game strategy advice. Should not be taken as financial advice. They don't represent the game of Upland, team of Upland, myself, the Goldsmith, or the Cafe Nightly Show. So those are big, important pieces here, and especially for tonight, because we are going to talk a little bit about value. We are going to talk a little bit about potential for selling assets for a certain price higher, potentially than they have in the past. Doesn't mean that I'm telling you to sell all your assets. I'm not telling you to go and buy this thinking that the value is going to go up, because we don't know what the value will do. Overall, the value is determined by the sentiment of the market. The sentiment of the marketplace is always going to shift. In the game of Upland, since it is all speculation, or is all digital value, it's all a digital product that really can't turn around and, I can't eat it, I can't live in it, I can't put it on my body to keep myself clothed. So it does come down to speculation. It does come down to finger red number. Oh, good to see you, Shadow. Haven't seen you for a bit, and I'm glad you're here. It comes down to what the market wants to value that at. So it could always shift, but this is enhanced value. This is enhanced value to what already has existed with these, and that is, block explorers have an aesthetic value. We can see them. We could like what they look like. They have a mint number. People can decide that mint number adds value to it. Well, Upland has now decided to be able to give you value for that mint number. Let's take a look at this announcement. Let's get a little better feel for what the contest is. And this is also another one, just like some of these other contests that we start having here, just like we're starting to have contests for decorations that's going to be every season. This is another contest that is likely going to be every season. I want to put a big rubber stamp on this concept of having things that happen every season, because it does create more value for that 6-week cycle. We're in the season, we have a contest. That contest in this case happens to be called Collector's Rank. And let's take a look at the Collector's Rank announcement here today in the game of Upland. As Upland has been doing recently on this, they have this Collector's Rank announcement, which we will take a look at. And if you come down into live updates, they also have a video explainer. And video explainers are nice. Again, they tend to be more focused on key takeaways. They tend to put some large form takeaways out there, things like the dates and what the contest is. And it's nice to see X1 get excited, because I'm getting excited too. But it's nice to see X1 get excited about these contests, or excited about these new features in the game. But ultimately, if you want the details, go and read the actual announcement. And that's just what we're going to do here together. The collector score is a system that tracks and evaluates your collections of block explorers, seasons passes, city passes, and badges. By holding and owning these items, you can climb the ranks and prove your collecting expertise. There's some notes on these, and I definitely want to put it out there about scores and burning and selling and holding. And the reality is what you have now is what is valued, not what you had then. And that is a big note here, and it does a lot for the secondary market. We'll talk a little bit more about that function and that motion and what that might do for the market. But let's get into a little more of the details here. The collector score introduces the 2 types of leaderboards to reward players for both seasonal activities and long-term dedication. The seasonal leaderboard and the all-time leaderboard. So we'll get into those 2 notes there. And they do function a little bit differently. Head to the link to learn more about the collector score, including the rewards and how it all works. I do have some thoughts on the rewards. We'll get into this, and we'll take a little bit of an aside as we get halfway through here. But the awards, this is more about prestige, if you ask me. The rewards are there. Some of the rewards give you a little bit of prestige. But I mean, the compensatory reward, the gain UPX. In the past, we had UPX and we had Sparklet and we had a bunch of things. But getting Sparklet in this case, it's a limited compensatory reward. But when you talk about the prestige award, having that little marker on your account that says, I did this when, I think that's more where this value is. This is for the people who really want to stand out in that way. And again, there are people who want to do that. And for some people, they're willing to spend a decent amount of OPEX or USD to get that stamp that says, I got 3rd place or 1st place at this time. And guess what? That is a huge support for the secondary market. And what have I been saying for 6 months, 6 years now? What have I been saying for 3.5 years? There you go. What I've been saying since 2021 is, it's nice that we're getting these assets after assets, but it'd be nice to have some type of supportive thing. We have these contests. We've had these contests for building, and we've had these contests for acquiring new assets. We've had these contests for buying these items over a short period of time. But we haven't had these contests that said, you've had this for 3 years. It's not a new sale. You didn't buy it last week. You've had this for 3 years. And guess what? You're getting value for holding for 3 years. And we'll get into how that works. Swally, this contest is cool. Not sure I'll bother caring, but it's cool, and I hope Uplands continues on this path. Good to see you, Blue. I'm going to give you an argument, Swally, is this isn't just necessarily for the people who are going to turn around and spend a ton of UPX on it. And I really hope there is some of that. And again, I don't want people to throw money at something or to tell them this is valuable because they should think it's valuable. Personally, I'm not going to dump a huge amount of USD or UPX. I am going to dump some USD because now that I see an potential upward trend, a potential support of Block Explorers, am I potentially going to go and pick up some Block Explorers that I wanted for a long time but just saw them as on a downward trajectory? Yes, I'm going to buy some because I think it's more supportive of the value of Block Explorers long term. But no, I'm not somebody who's a big buyer at this time. But what it does is I feel like, and I'm going to have to see what the leaderboard's on up, but I feel like I'm being rewarded for having all these number one mints that I have already, for having these old Block Explorers that, you know, maybe the market didn't value as strong as I thought the market should have valued, but they were sold in 2021 or 2022. Ooh, their sweetener sale back from 21, 22. Maybe there's going to be some value to them finally here. After a very long time of, again, the market not giving them that extra value that I thought should have been there. Let's take a look at the house contest and how the scoring is going to work. What does the collector score? Again, this is a system tracking and evaluating the collections of Block Explorers, season passes, city passes, and badges. Owning these items helps you climb these leaderboards. Burned items will not count towards your score. Again, if it's been burnt, it's been burnt. Keep your treasures intact. We have a reason to burn our season's passes. That is to get the cosmetic drops. Had you not burnt it, now you're going to get points. We're going to get into how that works, or that concept of one versus the other, versus Upland says burn plus hold. But let's take a look at it again. That this is something that is supportive of the secondary market. And yes, because of the way this is set up, because this is continuous, because this is going to be season to season plus a continuous leaderboard, yes, Upland is saying go and buy more stuff on the primary. Does it feel a little itchy? Not really. But yes, they're saying we're giving you a reason to spend more money, USD-wise, on the primary market, buying from Upland for this pass that has no other real value other than to look at. Well, now we're giving you a small value that is it's going to give you some points towards this leaderboard. The score provides a fresh data point for players and collectors to compete, strategize, and showcase their achievements. I like the idea that Upland's saying strategize, because there's ways people can swap. People can say, hey, I don't really like this Block Explorer, but I think it's going to give me more points, or vice versa. Somebody can say, I don't really like this old Block Explorer. I don't care about this contest, but I really want that Block Explorer there, and that could facilitate a swap. People who've held on to Block Explorers for a long time who haven't seen value in them and don't see value in this contest, it might be an opportunity for them to get rid of Block Explorers. And the people who care about Block Explorers, it is a opportunity for them to be rewarded. And Johnny Come Lately, who hasn't been in the game for 5 years, again, we know the age of the game is just 5 years, hasn't been in the game for 5 years, they could also feel that way, that they've been hanging around all this time with the last 10 months, but they just don't feel like they have that connection to the old game, and now they have an incentive or a reason to try to reach back and get things on the secondary market that they weren't in the game to get on the primary. So it is, and it does have a depth to affecting different players differently for sure. But it does have the opportunity to affect a large swath of the Upland player base, which is kind of exciting. The score, again, is meant to carry on, be involved in this season, but also future seasons. There will be a season and all-time leaderboard. The collector score introduces two types of leaderboards to reward players for both seasonal activity, what you've done this season, and long-term dedication. The seasonal leaderboard resets every 6 weeks, coinciding with the new upland seasons. Tracks all related collectibles released during the current season. So what am I buying this season? Am I buying 5 versions of everything? Am I getting low mint numbers to get additional rewards? Am I holding on to those passes, or am I burning them? Emphasizing engagement and activities each season. Yeah, that's definitely something that, again, is supportive of upland selling stuff in the primary, but it also is supportive of people trying to, who are trying to be active, and giving them an additional reward for being active players, which they may already be. At the end of each season, prizes are rewarded to top performers on the list. The leaderboard will be finalized only after the season ends, and all rewards will be distributed from seasonal challenges. In the event of a tie, the first player to reach the points will claim the higher position, which gives a slight incentive to work early, because if someone catches up to you right at the end, you still win. So definitely do see that as a do it early, do it big. All-time leaderboard tracks a player's cumulative score over time. And again, this is that kind of idea that you've held on to things for years. You've been doing this for years. And because you've been in the game since potentially 2019, now you have an opportunity to highlight all those things you earned early. You didn't sell your block explorers that you earned early. You held on to them, and now you're being rewarded for them. Reflects the overall prestige, historical value, and strategic depth of a player's collection. Rewards long-term commitment to the game and the community. It says long-term commitment to the game, and these assets and holding on to them. But really what it seems to say is tracks the player's cumulative score over time, reflects the overall procedures of all these things that you hold. But this doesn't mean that you can't buy stuff today. And that's kind of the idea of the supportive of the secondary market. You're buying it on the secondary market today to increase your score overall, because you're now the owner. It doesn't matter if you owned it 6 years ago. Again, I'm being a little excessive here because the game's not 6 years old, but it doesn't matter if you owned it 3-4 years ago. It matters if you hold it today, and that's what is important for your overall leaderboard. Your leaderboard position can go down if you're selling things. The leaderboards will be all set to launch next week. Don't expect them until then, with notification to follow. The seasonal leaderboards will track since the beginning of Wonderland season. Stay tuned. So anything you've picked up at the beginning of Wonderland season is going to count. All the things that are Wonderland season tied, they're going to count on this. This is going to incentivize people to buy more seasons passes, of course. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nod, nod. And we'll get into some of the scoring that is going to actually incentivize getting lucky and getting some of the rare passes as opposed to all the commons. The Wonderland season is an inaugural season for the Collector's Score leaderboard. It will be running from until the January the 15th at 9 a.m. PT. So it started the 1st of December, runs until the 15th of January. Even though we didn't see it start the 1st, the accumulations start the 1st of December. Players will compete for incredible rewards, including unique items that will boost their collector score even further in the future. Well, take a look. We have the Wonderland 2024 Tycoon Block Explorer and the Wonderland 2024 Collector's Badge. Here is what's up for grabs. First through third place gets the Wonderland Tycoon Block Explorer, 1,000 Sparklet, and a Season Collector Score Badge. 4th through 10th place gets a Wonderland Tycoon Block Explorer and 500 Sparklet. And then finally, 11th through 25th place, Wonderland Tycoon Block Explorer. That is first prize getting, or the first tier here getting 1,000 Sparklet. Now let's put a value to that. Sparklet right now is 3.5 cents maybe, so it's $35 worth of Sparklet. However, that Tycoon Block Explorer, if there's only going to be 3 of them, sorry, if there's only be 25 of them, apologize. If there's only 25 of them, they're going to have value moving forward for a collector score because they're a limited block explorer, but also it's a prestige thing and all of that. So you've got that value there. And you're talking about this collector's badge, which there are only 3 of, which will have its own value coming forward. And badges are badges, right? You earn a badge. I mean, you do buy badges for seasonal, for the seasonal cosmetics, but the badges are traditionally earned, so this is a big deal. I would say that we see a lot more emphasis here on that badge and on that Block Explorer, really, than there is on this Sparklet. Because keep in mind, at one point you got a Sparklet, $460 to have bought that Sparklet. It's a big deal. 1,000 Sparklet, it's $35 to have bought that 1,000 Sparklet. Not as big of a deal as that one Spark used to be. Does that mean Upland should or can or will increase the Sparklet rewards to be more consistent with what Spark rewards were in value? We'll see. We'll see if Upland chooses to do that, but it's just a consideration when we talk about these values and these rewards. I think that Upland made MA should have been included. I don't know what that is probably for MA. Maybe I'm missing something here. Probably Upland made SO2. You burn the pass, you get a badge that is worth points, more or less points. Who knows? Yeah, I guess Swally. Yes, you're getting points in one way versus another. You're getting points for earning that badge. So yes, you'd still got points even though you burnt that badge. Oh, sorry, burnt to get the badge. Burnt the pass to get the badge. Map assets. Yes. They made map assets should be included. Upland made map assets. Based on what's on the list. So I agree here. We have a limitation of what's available. We do have some things that do have points now that aren't included. Things like the NFLPA and the Racing Legits, because there's points and scoring and ways those are used now, and collections, and people can earn from those collections. Those aren't included. These are a certain set of assets. And I agree with you. There could have been additional assets that were included in this. Right now they aren't. Maybe they will be in the future. We will have to see if Upland adds them. We'll have to see if they get added or valued in some other way. Your score is accumulated or calculated based on several components, with weighting reflected of their significance. So block explorers are 30% of the score, 20% is passes, and 50% are badges. So if you're somebody with a lot of badges, you are doing well to start. If you're somebody with limited badges, but you have a ton of block explorers and a bunch of passes, keep in mind you are starting at a deficit. And yes, to Swally's point, you burn passes, the season passes, you get a badge. The badge ends up being 50% of your overall score. Yeah, maybe it was worth burning that pass. Now, if I had bought 3 passes and one of them was the rarest form and 2 of them were commons, I burned one of the commons. Now I have a common and a rare form, and that rare form's going to give me more points than that common does. If I have value in owning that pass already, Uplands give me a little more value. It's a collectible, and it's also earning me points in this leaderboard contest. Block explorers are a cornerstone of the collecting score, reflecting both the rarity and significance historically of your collection. Each block explorer's attributes contribute uniquely to your score. So older block explorers, they carry weight due to their rarity and historical value. Mint total. If it's a lower mint total, so if there's 15 of them made as opposed to 500, you're going to get a modifier there for the points. For the mint number, so lower mint numbers are more prestigious. I have a ton of mint number 1s. I have put some on the market. I think they're very valuable. But if I'm giving points because it's a number 1 as opposed to a number 30, I think that's a huge value, and I'm excited to see that. Thanks for the update or for the clarification, Swally. MA being map assets, SO being structure ornaments. Yes, recognize that these aren't included here. These could be included in the future, or they could be included another way. But yes, I'd like to see many types of assets, or maybe all types of assets, having contests tied to them, and maybe there will be more. Keep in mind, structure ornaments do have contests tied to them already. It is a seasonal contest for structure ornament contest. With that considered, there's a value for that. But map assets, I agree. Map assets would be nice to see a contest. Oh, wait, there is. Map assets now have a contest in the decorating contest. So if you look at it that way, it looks like we are seeing all assets or more types of assets have more utility in these contests anyways. So for passes, before I get to passes, we got to look at block explorers for directors. All director block explorers will be scored equally across accounts to ensure fairness. Essentially, if you are new in the game, your director block explorer is not worth more than somebody else's director block explorer. Even though they're one of ones, they don't have that super high value. There is a question on this, is if I own 40 director block explorers, and without getting too deep on this one, there was a ton of multi-accounting in the history of Upwind. I think Upwind's done a better job in nipping that in the bud because there was so many multi-accounts and there were ways they manipulated value. They got directors, block explorers. Those director block explorers were a glut and flooded the market. People were collecting directors, block explorers before this flood, this glut of, some would argue, multi-account block explorers in many, many ways. And because of that, the value of director block explorers is lower than a lot of other block explorer types because, again, it's we know what it is. It is a flooded market, and they're not special anymore once you know that people made these accounts and did all these things just to get a director block explorer and try to take a little profit off it, and in violation of the rules of the game. So with that, I don't know what's going to happen here. We don't know what the value of having 6 different director block explorers is, if those 6 director block explorers each have a certain value, or if they say you only get the value of one of those director block explorers. We'll have to see if we can get a verification of that from the team. I will ask the question. If we get the answer, we'll get it out there. It would be and give a greater value for Upland created items, including structure ornaments, maybe a part of the way to justify their higher prices. I agree, Swally. Yes, if there's a difference between Upland putting out a product like the structure ornaments and the UGC community, is there a way Upland can give more utility to that? I get you. Maybe there's bonus points in the structure ornament contest. That's one way of doing it. But then again, if we're doing that, now are we devaluing UGC, where I want to see UGC get emphasized? Something to definitely be looked at, Swally. I don't disagree. So passes, passes and for both the season passes and city passes are key indicators of engagement. Each pass owned contributes to your collector score. The rare versions of the passes will have higher point contributions. Easy enough there. You burn your pass, it no longer is going to be counted. But if you earn that badge, as Swally pointed out, you do get points for having that badge you burnt to earn. Badges symbolize your achievement and contributions within Upland, and they are the most heavily weighted component. If you're somebody with a ton of badges, congratulations, you have a boost already in the leaderboard. Badge rarity is determined by the number of players holding that badge, with rarer badges contributing more significantly to your collector score. I don't know. I can take a look at my badges and see which of them are more rare and which of them are more common by my understanding. I will make an argument that I could have done a little bit different at different times to earn badges. I also know that people spent hundreds or thousands of dollars to earn some of these badges, and I wasn't in the position to spend that. Hundreds or thousands of dollars. A million UPIX is different than $1,000, and some people did have to spend thousands of dollars to earn some of these badges. Or billions of UPIX even. So definitely worth noting that regardless of rarity, some people worked very, very hard to earn some of these badges early on, especially in the game. And I do appreciate that the rarity, the one-of-one badge, or the badge that there's 26 of or 30 of, that has higher weight and higher value than a badge that was earned last week that 6,000 people earned. Badge rarity is determined by the total number of people holding that badge. Rare badges, much more points to the collector score. Now, what's next? What's next is this is an open beta that's just the beginning. And to Swally's point, more could be done here. We could do modifiers. We could add different assets into this calculation. We're actively monitoring feedback and results to fine-tune the system for seamless, balanced experience. And monitoring and the titrating and the fine-tuning and the making this work better, this is something that could play out if we see that it's scaled in such a way that the number one mints make a winner out of the guy who has 5 number one mints and only 10 assets. I don't think that's going to happen, but it is something that Upland has to watch out. In the gaming world, we say this is overpowered. This feature or the reality is it's unbalanced. And if we find that there's an unbalance or Upland finds a lack of balance here, they will try to move this around in the future to have a more seamless or more of a direct correlation between activity and outcome. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this first leaderboard works. They will start next week. Our vision is for the collector score to eventually become a more core part of Upland, celebrating the collectors who help make the community so vibrant and unique. Whether you are aiming to get to the top of the seasonal leaderboard, building a legacy on the all-time leaderboard, or both, the collector score is your chance to shine. So gear up, strategize, and start collecting prestige awaits. I want to make two arguments. Number one, this is not me saying go and buy things. Again, speculation is speculation. WW Dog, good to see you. This is not saying to go and buy a ton of Block Explorers today. I will make a small speculation with a caveat that it's a speculation. It is not an advice telling people what to do, how to buy, or what will happen in the future. But my speculation is that we could very well see this have a slow and steady effect. And not happening one immediately, but it taking a little while for it to hit base. Number one, it takes a little bit for this information to get disseminated, people to read it, people to act on it. Especially with Block Explorers being sold in different shops and meta ventures throughout the game, and people have to travel, and people have to justify traveling, and potentially getting a leaderboard up gets people more excited and changes the way they are acting or their activity. We could see the floor on these get bought up over time, and maybe that hasn't happened yet. This is just my thought and a potential at the moment. Again, buying 100 Block Explorers today because you think they're going to be worth more tomorrow to sell, this is not my recommendation. But if you are someone who's trying to build your collector score, you know what to look for at this point. If you have low mint numbers, mint number 1, 2, 3, if there are 100 of a Block Explorer instead of 1,000 of a Block Explorer, if you know the Block Explorer was originally sold 4 years ago as opposed to last week, that makes a big difference. And if you look at those factors, and the price to you doesn't appear to be consistent with those factors. And we've seen this in certain things. I've seen certain Block Explorers that are 3 years old or 4 years old sitting on the market at a very similar price to a Block Explorer that was sold last week. And the Block Explorer that was sold last week, there were 300 of. And this Block Explorer, there are 100 of. You compare those factors all together, and you would assume that the higher value would be with that older Block Explorer that was rare with a lower mint number, and now Upland's giving some value to that. And looking at the fact that 1,000 Sparklet is only the value of 1,000 Sparklet, and technically only the top 3 are going to get that, and getting to the top 3 could be very, very expensive. Don't consider that prize as the reason you want to do this. If you want to do this for the sake of prestige and the sake of saying, I did it because I wanted to do it, and I feel supported by Upland for getting recognition for having done it, then that's what I would recommend. I'd recommend, building your score because you want to have one of those 25 Block Explorers. You want to say, hey, look, I did it. And again, this is a game in many ways. People spending a ton of USD to accomplish goals. Don't spend money in the game of Upland, and I still will say this. Don't spend money on the game of Upland that you need to buy yourself lunch. Don't skip a meal to buy an asset in Upland that may or may not have future value for you. You may or may not ever be able to cash it out. You might, but you might not. But I would say that if you are playing Upland as a game and you have $1 million or $1.5 million UPEX, guilty, $1.5 million UPEX in your account, and it's more important to you to increase your collection, and you think that there are assets that are undervalued currently, use some of that savings in UPEX. There's savings in your Fiat account and your Tilia account. If you so feel that way, go and spend it, buy it. That's what my recommendation is for myself. I can't tell anybody else how to play the game of Upland, but this is something to have for notes here. This is an opportunity to potentially increase your scores here before the leaderboards even hit. And once the leaderboards hit, I think people will start reacting differently to the market, and that might make the market shift. So that is a suggestion here today on the 12th. what's going to happen next week may have the market shift in 3 days, 4 days, may shift in 3 hours. But right now, I think that it may be before this has had the effect or had the ability to have whatever effect it's going to have. So it's something I'm going to watch my eyes out for, and maybe go shopping if that's something I choose to do. Let's look at a couple of the other announcements. Not quite as big, not quite as deep, but still worth noting. Let's take a look at the Holliday Plaza and then get into a very small announcement on quality of life, which has big impact. Congratulations to the winner of the Upland Holliday Plaza Challenge. That is Charles_FR. Charles_FR has already been nominated for Upland Designer of the Year. Charles_FR has already gotten a structure, I believe, added into the game of Upland. Also doing great things in UGC, in the UGC side of the house, Upland user-generated content. So congratulations, Charles_FR. This was great work. And again, I like to see people be rewarded for continuing to put the work in. Yes, new people. Get new people into the organization or into the UGC side of the house. Let them compete, and hopefully they win. I want to see the new people winning as well. But seeing the same names means that the dedication, the effort, the continued work, there are benefits there for doing so. Here's a sneak peek at what the plaza will look like throughout the holiday season. Okay, let's blow. Ooh, little tinkle, tinkle, tinkle. So that is what we're going to see this get turned on here very shortly. We can see some Christmas trees. We can see some stars. We can see, ooh, there's a reindeer right there, a bell. Get turned back around. I want to go see those lights. So we can see the Wonderland lights there at the end. Candy cane, red and white striped. Look at that. It looks like a hot air balloon over there in the corner. Oh, a snowman even. Look at that. Presents, and there is a ski lift line. On a flat slope, mind you, but a ski lift line all the same. Very excited that we are going to be able to celebrate seasons in the game of Upland in a larger way. Again, I will put the caveat being how often is the plaza used, what events are there. Do I think it'd be nice to see Upland throw some more events in the plaza? I would. I'd like to see more people congregate in the plaza, make it have a greater value. But it is nice that it is decorated for the holiday season. If you are hosting an event in the plaza, there is ways for people to go and hang out in the plaza. Excuse me. Regardless, Upland has supported putting specific group-related events in the plaza, so there are ways for that to be used, and hopefully it is used more fully than it has been in the past. And yeah, if they add map assets, WW if they add map assets to this list, that's going to be supportive of the value of map assets. I agree with that as well. And since Upland says this is the beta, this is the first version, we may see that get added in the not so distant future. All right, so that is nice, but like I said, the one thing to say on the plaza is, let's also see a supportive, why we're going to be there, what we're going to be doing there. And I will give a caveat here. We've hosted a couple events officially. Upland's hosted a couple events officially. I have, and Too Stupid to Win last year did 2 holiday shows in the plaza, which were 2 of the larger events that were hosted in that plaza. Upland has done races in the plaza, which are well attended as well, with that some support to you. If you go, you might be entered into a contest. So that is supportive of attendance at those events as well. But very excited to potentially have this as a backdrop. Officially, the Upland Holiday Extravaganza that I host every year with Uplando is going to be in Left Houses Theater in San Francisco. But I don't know. Maybe Upland will ask about doing a simulcast there. We'll see. There are some logistics for entering contests and such, but it is going to be nice to have that decorated here in the short term, midterm, as we head towards the holidays here in Wonderland season. Let's get to the one big one. And again, the announcement itself, pretty small. It doesn't take a lot of lines, a lot of words to put it out there, but it is a big one. We've got another one of our quality of life updates. Again, this was something that was supposed to be happening in the fourth quarter of 2024. We're in the fourth quarter of 2024. Go figure. Today, what dropped is a filtering that people have asked for a very long time. In your property nearby view, filtering to see what is available for sale currently in an area that you have your screen hovered around, that you have centered around. You have the ability to sort by USD versus UPEX. And this is a big sort because typically USD obviously is a lower cost than UPEX. So we're going to see the USD dominate these. And if you're somebody who doesn't want to spend the USD, you have to sort through and sort through and sort through. And sometimes that is so difficult, or it takes so much time, it is distracting, and you just don't do it, and you just don't want to buy the bottom of the market because you don't want to fight to find an 8,000 UPEX property when there's all these $3 properties. Well, if we solve that problem, hopefully there will be some support for people buying up the bottom of the market. People will be more interested in buying properties to begin with because they don't have to fight between the USD and the UPEX. There are many quality of life adjustments that are necessary and needed and will improve the game that don't exist now, and we're looking forward to those. And in this filter, it would have been nice if more filter features were added. The big one is filtering out jailed properties. Upland has a marker. They have an indication. They know which properties are jailed, but they still show up in the search. So you see them low on the search list. They're $3. You're excited. You go to buy them, and it says, oh, this is a jailed property. Either you can't buy it. In the past, they've had two categories. Either you can't buy it, you pay an extra fee to buy it. The reality is it would be nice to know those are jailed and just to exclude them. Upland could potentially exclude them, but just give me a button that lets me exclude those. Click a button. I don't want to see any jailed properties. As a personal ethics, or the way I see the game of Upland, I don't want to buy from somebody who's jailed. So just let me set those aside and cut those out of my search. Give me a single button to toggle that on and off will be great. But for now, this USD versus UPEX is a very powerful tool people have been asking for a very long time. And additionally, alongside that, we have price ranges. We can sort by from high to low. So if I want to buy an expensive property because that's the range I'm looking at, I can switch the script. I can flip the script and go from high to low instead of low to high. I can do that in a certain range between $5 and $10, 5,000, 10,000 UPEX if I chose, and then start that baseline. So this is a key thing and a key tool people have been asking for a very long time. This change came directly from feedback. Yes, it's been asked for a very long time. And it is just one of a series of changes we're making to improve Upland overall. Stay tuned for more. And again, one of the changes that people have asked for a very, very, very long time has been, could you please, Upland, filter out the jailed properties? And maybe that'll be one more thing they tackle. But let's show you what this looks like. What this looks like is this property nearby is this is what this little apartment looking building here is, and that's properties nearby. We see properties nearby here, and what we normally see this as is we see what's available. And actually I might have to zoom out here, maybe. There we go, and go properties nearby. Let's change my sort. Let's go for all properties. Let's go to for sale in UPEX, and we'll see if Upland's properties nearby tool is not working here well for some reason. Let's get out. Let's get into the city of New Orleans. That'll make a difference. And here we go. Here's a bunch of properties. We'll see that there's USD at the bottom. Bunch of $3 properties, some $5,000 properties. But when I look at New Orleans, you're not going to hit an UPEX property for a long ways as I scroll up. I haven't hit one yet. Well, if I do go here and say, hey, I'm only interested in UPEX properties, I'll click my UPEX properties, and there we go. The lowest price available is 9,500 UPEX. If I go back to the USD, because, hey, I've got some USD in my account, I can go and buy some USD. And you can see that there's a difference between the USD value and the UPEX value. It's not the 1,000 to 1. When we look at the floor, the 1,000 UPEX per dollar, we see a very different figure than that. But I could go buy some properties at $3. And if I come here, hey, look, that is not a jailed property. That's fun. Let's go see if we got another not jailed property. Hey, that's not a jailed property either. That's nice. This is so far working out. I've seen other cities where the bottom of the floor is all jailed properties. In New Orleans, this is an old enough city. There wasn't a ton of, or wasn't as many multi-account strategies for people to come in and try to mint. So maybe that's why we see a lot less of that in New Orleans. But yeah, this is interesting. And if I want to go buy one in USD, and I see there's a $3 one right here, and I know that there's that ongoing building contest right now in New Orleans where I can go and, look at that. I can go and potentially buy this property here. I want to see if there is and this is important to me, a structure on it. There's a structure on it. Not as interested. I'm looking for a property that I can go ahead and build on because the New Orleans structure build contest, the road to the big game, I want to make sure I don't have a structure built on that property currently. So if I take a look there, it doesn't look like there's a structure built on it. I'm going to buy that for $3. Call that a day. And look at that, shopping. But what I will say on this is going to be, look at all that. What I am going to say on this is a supportive tool. In my case, it makes it more likely that I'm going to want to buy this. I'm going to go back and do this in Tilia. There we go. And then use this pay method and make that purchase. And this is going to be some very supportive of my shopping habits because I know that there's times I'm going to want to go into the city and spend in UPX. There's going to be times I'm going to want to buy in USD. And in this case, for me, I have the USD to go and make the purchase because I've sold certain things in USD to support my ability to buy the passes and to be able to buy other things in the game of Upland, because ultimately there are two currencies in the game of Upland, UPX and USD, and those are two markets that I want to keep seeing be successful. And this is supportive of both markets because it gives me the ability to shop in either, and it gives me the ability to jump between the two, and it gives me the ability to say, I'm not trying to buy the bottom of the market, but I'm trying to, buy a reasonably priced property, $5 to $10, and I want to actually go high to low because I want to start at $10, and maybe I thought I saw some $10 properties, so maybe I'm going to come back over here for sale, and I'm going to go high to low, and I'm going to be able to go insert and do this, and now I see the $10 properties and the lower and lower cost here, and for me, is there a reason why that's a $10 property versus somewhere else? Again, I'm going to have to be selective. I'm going to have to use my own ideas. Am I always buying things the lowest on the market? Not always. Is there a reason why a higher UPX is going to have a more of a reason for me to want to buy and build on that property? Absolutely. But at least this gives me more control to shop given those features. And, if I look at going here and shopping, I can shop if I want to as well by the property. So I can go and find an individual property if I wanted to. But ultimately, properties nearby gives me the opportunity to say, I've zoomed into this area for one reason or another. I want to buy a property in this area. Now I can shop more selectively based on the features that I want to shop by USD, by UPX, and then I can go play with, again, price range as well as high to low, and add in exclude jail properties. Add in something that says with or without a structure. Add those two buttons, Upland. If we can add those two buttons, it's going to make this a much, much more valuable tool. This search properties nearby becomes much, much more valuable. I'm going to use it more often. I'm going to need outside third-party tools less, and some of the third-party tools have changed their monetization methods. It'd be nice to have some more things inside. There are values to third-party tools. It's also nice to be able to shop in layer one Upland as well without having to leave the game, come back, leave the game. There we go. Let's take a look. Charles Afar is a machine. Awesome job. This is coming from Swally. Agree. We talked about the added map assets. Upland needs to add a time limit for putting properties up for sale. Make that limit longer the higher your rank is. Done jail properties are no longer a major pain in the butt. Jail properties don't show up as much, Swally, but there is still there are some markets where I did see that there's still some jail properties on those pockets. Try that in Porto Rio. Add in markup too. Yeah. So check Porto and Rio. Okay. Let's check Porto and Rio. But yes, we'd love to add markup. We'd love to see what we can do as far as other feature. Yes, sort by markup, be able to, look at the lowest markup property in USD, the lowest markup property in Upland. Overall, I want to buy the one that people are giving me a biggest discount on, right? Black Friday holiday shopping here. So look at that in UPX or USD. Let's switch this over to UPX. Let's take a look. In Rio, lowest in the city, $5,400 to $3 lowest. Let's see if that neighborhood looks that different, Swally, as you were suggesting. USD, UPX. Not too crazy, but New Orleans, that is a huge difference, right? $9,500 lowest on the market in UPX. Keep in mind there's artificial inflation in New Orleans. Not that there shouldn't be, but because we have this road to the big game, people are continuing to acquire properties in New Orleans in order to build structures on them. And in a way, the more structures we add, the more built out the city looks. I don't know whether it actually increases the value of properties in the city. It could. It depends on how people want to value the aesthetics of seeing more structures completed in a neighborhood or in a city. But it is nice to see more properties with structures on them. We know that people have bought up the floor over the course of the last couple months as they're buying more properties in order to build on. So that's partially why we've seen a support for the UPX floor, upward lift on the value of the floor in UPX as people try to buy those up. We still see $3 properties in the city of New Orleans, but we do see a use case of the properties to begin with, which is to build structures, which is to earn points, which is to earn sparklet along the way. So it is kind of a temporary value here in the city of New Orleans. So yes, different cities will have different valuations of floors, but we will continue to see this grow and change over time. And yes, there is more to come. There are more quality of life enhancements, and there are more that are needed. Markup is a great one, Swally. Toggling on and off jail properties. There are some jail properties that still show up. I've seen them in cities like Detroit and in Chicago. Yeah, maybe Chicago is the big one, where if you go and look in Chicago, there's all these jail properties that pop up, I think. Let me take a look. No, not jailed. Not jailed. Well, Commander V2 should probably be jailed, but we'll get into that. Isn't that interesting? But yeah, earlier today I did see there was a bunch of jailed properties when I was trying. There we go. There's some jailed properties. I knew we could find some. But yes, there's less jailed properties. Upland has done some things to remove some of those jailed properties. Especially the permanently jailed properties, the accounts that are never ever coming back again. They have no option of coming back. We saw some of those properties get removed, but there are still some jailed properties. So when they do pop up, like right here, when they do pop up, when they are in the lineup here, we could theoretically, just not see them. And this is one way of dealing with that. Buy that jailed property. Oh no, I can't, because of players in Alcatraz. So there is still some to clean up here. Having that one feature to check off would be nice. And other features, if you have suggestions, let the team of Upland know. There are, in the feedback, people still have the ability to get things put into the note board. Upland does put out requests for top suggestions that people have all the time. Take those opportunities seriously, and I think that we may see the quality of life for some of the things we've wanted to see in the game for a very long time at this point be implemented. If Upland's putting a focus on it this quarter, maybe they'll put a focus on it, and if not next quarter, the quarter following, because there's a lot of these things, adding them over time is giving us a more full game. It is hard to play the game of Upland missing features that feel like they should have been there a long time ago. But the fact that they're adding them does make the game more full, makes it easier for me to buy properties, sort for properties, purchase properties, and who knows, just maybe, making it easier to buy properties is going to make people buy more properties. People buy more properties is potentially going to raise the value of properties at the floor, raise floors, make more use case for owning a property because it's easier to buy that property or buy specific properties. Like I said, toggle on and off whether there's a structure there. Toggle on and off by structure type. Do I want to buy a factory? Yes. Okay, check factories. If there's a factory for sale on a property, now I can sort and search all those properties for sale with a factory and take it from there. For tonight, those are all things that could be happening in the future. But for tonight, thank you so much for being here. Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. PT, we get together in the Upland Plaza on Tuesdays and Fridays in the Upland Discord Cafe, Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. PT, here on YouTube, here on Twitter as well. But for tonight, I do want to give a couple more reminders. I have to do this every night. I have to do this every night because I need to remind people, and we can start headed that direction. That is going to be this coming, not this weekend, the following, just under a week and a half away, or if you want to call it 9 days away, I guess it's 9 days away, the 21st of December, Saturday, 6 p.m. PT, we do have the Upland Extravaganza hosted in Left House's Theater in San Francisco, California, in Layer 1 Upland. It will also be on YouTube and on Twitter. Many of the contest giveaways are going to be focused on being in the theater. Many will be available as well to anybody, regardless of where they are, so long as they're participating live. This will be something that we'll have some support from the game of Upland in the fact and in the inclusion of staff members, which I'm looking forward to. We may also and hopefully will have some great prizes, potentially from the team of Upland to be supportive of that as well. And, of course, we have prizes. We'll have a guest on. We'll talk about the year of Upland and what's happened, and just celebrate and have the opportunity for games and participation in games, and games that you win based on skill, and games that you win based on getting lucky for being there. And that is something that I look forward to doing every year. This is the 4th annual, which means I've done this with Uplando for 3 prior years. I will say that I think every one of those years there was some participation from the team of Upland, or some support from the team of Upland, either in the form of prizes or in the form of, acknowledgement and it being an announcement somewhere, or the team's participation as a whole. So it is great to be able to do this. This is something that's not put on by the team of Upland, but it does have the support and some participation, limited participation from the team of Upland. So thank you so much for that, team. I'm looking forward to having another night of fun again this year. For tonight, I have to say thank you so much for being here. Looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing you on the 21st of December for the Holiday Extravaganza in the Left House Theater in San Francisco, California, Layer 1 Upland. And if you're in the Upland Discord Cafe, feel free to unmute your mics. The floor is yours.